Alright, we'll watch that. I want to watch the Squilliam one. This is the one I want to watch. He's a fraud, and he makes no money, and he's just mean to fucking Squidward for no reason.
Squilliam Fancy Son. Squilliam Fancy Son. Squilliam Fancy Son.
Squilliam Fancy Son III is Squidward's rival from
Fucking
high school
hated
band
this
class.
dude.
So, I just took my private yacht across my private lake to my private heliport.
He's more wealthy, popular, and talented than Squidward, and he always rubs it in his face.
That's
True.
right. I'm living your dreams, Squidward. Oh, just succeeding in everything you failed in.
But I intend to prove that he's a fraud, using his wealth to make
dick bottom
himself
feeder.
seem more popular and talented than he actually
I'm
is.
dead.
He goes to ridiculously extreme and expensive lengths to humiliate Squidward and show his superiority, and I'm gonna prove it. SpongeBob is one of my favorite shows from my childhood. Even going back now and rewatching the old ones, it still holds up. You might think, it's just a kid's show, there's no continuity, there's nothing worth theorizing about, but the show constantly brings back characters and references to previous episodes, and if you look closely, you can connect the dots and find some very interesting stories. And today, I'm going to
Crazy.
prove that Squilliam Fancy Son III is a manipulative fraud. Evidence number 1, the pet hospital. We first meet Squilliam in Season 2, Episode 15, Band Geeks. The episode opens with Squidward playing the clarinet and getting a knock on the door.
Yeah, we're with the pet hospital down the street, and I understand you have a dying animal on the premises.
Immediately after, Squidward gets a call from Squilliam.
Damn.
Hello, you've reached the house of unrecognized talent. Please start after the... Sounds as though you've got a dying animal to attend to, eh, old chum?
I believe that not only was Squilliam spying on Squidward to know when he was playing his clarinet, but
think
he
it's weird.
also hired the doctor to come and embarrass Squidward.
Yeah, we're with the pet hospital down the street. Pet hospital down the street.
We have never seen a pet hospital in Bikini Bottom.
Yeah,
We've
what the
only ever
hell?
seen just the regular Bikini Bottom hospital. We've seen this purple doctorfish before, but once again, he's never worked at a pet hospital. We've only ever seen him at the regular general hospital.
I've
Well,
never
Mr.
seen no fucking
Squarepants,
pet
it seems you
hospital.
have the suds. Are you ready for your
Not the
treatment?
suds,
Then there's
bro.
this green fish behind him, and we've only ever seen him as one of the many identical paramedics that work at the Bikini Bottom Hospital. We even see him at the end of the episode to take Squilliam away after fainting. So it is very likely that Squilliam hired these two and told them to pretend like they're from a pet hospital just to humiliate Squidward. But this is just the start of Squilliam's elaborate lies. Evidence number 2, the Bubble Bowl. In the same episode, Squilliam also says,
I'm the leader of a big fancy band now, and we're supposed to play the Bubble Bowl next week. The problem is, I'm busy next week and can't make it, so I was hoping you and your band could cover for us.
but we've never seen Squilliam's band before, and despite claiming he's too busy to make it to the Bubble Bowl, he still shows up at the end to watch Squidward's band. So both his excuse and probably his band were made up to pressure Squidward into humiliating himself at the Bubble Bowl. Evidence number 3, Squilliam's Friends. In Season 3, Episode 8, Squilliam returns. Squidward leaves for work and conveniently bumps into Squilliam and all of his fancy friends, despite Squilliam not seeming like the kind of guy that would come near the Krusty Krab. He and his friends make fun of Squidward for working as a cashier.
Hold it! Don't tell me! You're a cashier! Rhyme always makes it worse.
But I believe that this encounter was planned out by Squilliam in advance, and he hired all of those people to pretend to be his friends. Take a look at Squilliam's friends. They're all nicely dressed, you kind of get the sense that they're fancy, high-status members of Bikini Bottom, but they aren't. This is more like what the fancy rich people in Bikini Bottom look like. These are just some regular Bikini Bottom citizens. Most of them usually don't even wear nice clothes like this. And most of them are regulars at the Krusty Krab and would already know Squidward as the cashier.
My daddy doesn't have enough slime!
These are not the type of people Squilliam would hang out with. I mean, why would Squilliam be hanging out with one of Pearl's teenage friends? At the end of the episode, Squilliam even admits to his
True.
whole life being fake.
I made everything up about my life. I have no yachts, jets, or anything. I was only trying to impress you.
And then, of course, he quickly says he's just kidding.
Is that true? Of course not! I'm filthy stinking rich!
But was he kidding?
That's fucked
I mean,
up.
obviously he's rich, but is there a nugget of truth in there? Evidence number 4, the statue. In Season 7, Episode 6, Squidward has to pick up trash for community service, and Squilliam once again conveniently bumps into him and reveals he's cleaned up so much trash that the city actually built a statue of him.
Maybe if you clean up Bikini Bottom, they'll build a statue
I
of
thought
you.
the popped-up
Oh,
collar
wait.
thing for preppy
They've
boys
already
was a
built
joke.
one of me. I cleaned up all of Bikini Bottom in only 1 week.
I believe that once again, this encounter was staged by Squilliam, and he actually paid to get that statue built. As Squilliam tells Squidward about the statue, a female fish admires it and says,
Bless you, Squilliam Fancy Sim. Bless you.
but if you remember,
I saw
this
that
is one
shit
of those
today.
friends Squilliam likely paid, making her whole comment feel very fake. By the end of the episode, Squilliam's statue gets destroyed. A police officer approaches and they have this exchange.
This is your statue?
It was.
Squilliam
Nigga
admits
got
that
caught
it's
up for
his
littering, bruh.
statue, not the city's. And why else would the officer give him specifically a ticket if it was city property? Evidence number 5, the concert. In Season 6, Episode 17, Squidward watches Squilliam play the clarinet at a big fancy concert. He receives a standing ovation, causing Squidward to leave angrily. But I believe this entire
Squidward
concert
be
is a
dripped
scam.
out.
Not only has the audience been paid to cheer, but Squilliam never even touches his instrument. Once again, many of the audience members were part of Squilliam's quote-unquote friends, but we also never actually see Squilliam play the clarinet. The episode opens right after he's finished his performance with the audience cheering, and one member of the audience says,
He's such a great musician. He doesn't even have to touch an instrument to be brilliant.
maybe the real reason Squidward leaves so angrily is because the audience cheered for Squilliam even though he never even touched his clarinet. Maybe Squilliam is just as bad as Squidward at the clarinet and he's trying to hide it. Squilliam has gone to some pretty extreme lengths just to humiliate Squidward, but nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to what he does next. Evidence number 6. The Music College. In the same episode, after Squidward leaves the concert, he's approached by the headmistress of the Bikini Bottom prestigious music college.
Aren't you the esteemed Squilliam Fancy Sim III, who we all came here to see perform tonight?
She mistakes him for Squilliam and offers him a position as a professor. Squidward pretends to be Squilliam and teaches a class, only for the police to
It was a
burst in
group
and
of white
arrest him,
preppy
all
boys
while
in
he's being
cargo
filmed
shorts,
on
loafers,
live
and
TV.
popped-up
And
collared
I
polo
believe
shirt.
that this is Squilliam's most elaborate and most expensive scheme to destroy Squidward both publicly and legally. This encounter where Squidward gets offered a job is already suspiciously convenient, but listen closely to their exchange.
I'm Squilliam Fancy Sim.
But didn't you just say a minute ago that your name was Squidward Q Tentacles?
It is. No, I mean, no, I didn't.
Well, that's a relief. I mean, what kind of a moron would go to their worst enemy's music recital?
What kind of moron would go to their own enemy's music recital? How does she know that Squidward and Squilliam are enemies? If she
Right,
knew who
what the
Squidward
fuck?
was, then why didn't she recognize him? Why would she mistake him for Squilliam? This feels way too much like she was hired by Squilliam to set a trap for Squidward. And if that's not enough, the headmistress's associate is literally just a guy from the paid audience wearing a disguise. He just threw on some glasses to seem smart. Squilliam knew that Squidward couldn't resist the opportunity to teach a music class, even if it meant breaking the law.
My very own music class.
Then we get to the Bikini Bottom prestigious music college, and right off the bat, there's something very fishy about this place. The building itself is very green and grimy and has a very cheap metal look. Nothing about this says prestigious except for the big sign on top, which feels like the only new thing about this building. I think there is a very good chance that Squilliam just bought some old warehouse, then stuck a sign and some paint on it to disguise it as a college. I mean, look at these other schools in Bikini Bottom. They all have a very nice structure and a paint job, but this prestigious music college looks like a dumpster. Going into the classroom, not only does it have another one of Squilliam's friends, but if this is such a prestigious college, how did SpongeBob and Patrick get in here?
Would you two numbskulls mind telling me what you're doing in
True.
music class anyway?
Sure. Patrick's New Year's resolution was to learn to play an instrument.
They say it was their New Year's resolution to take a music class, but you'd think it'd be harder for them to get into an esteemed music school if they just decided to go to it on a whim. Seems like they're just letting in anyone to sell this ruse. Then, both the police, Squilliam and the headmistress, and a live news broadcast show up at the same time to arrest Squidward for impersonating Squilliam. If the extremely coincidental fact
fucked
that
up.
all of these people suddenly showed up at the same time isn't enough for you to believe that Squilliam set it all up,
That's
I've
so
got
fucked
something
up.
that's going to blow your mind. Squilliam literally has the police working for him.
Squidward chewed tentacles, I'm placing you under arrest for impersonating a genius.
If that doesn't sound like he's been paid off, I don't know what does. The lengths that Squilliam goes to humiliate Squidward are insane.
That's
he
crazy.
literally builds statues and entire buildings just to make Squidward feel inferior. But why? Why would anyone go so far to embarrass an old high school band classmate? What happened between them? What could have caused this extreme level of dedication? Well, unfortunately, we never really get much information on their past. I've spent hours reading through the SpongeBob Wikipedia and looking at old episodes, and there really just isn't any clues that would explain their weird relationship. I guess we can't solve everything, but either way,
Dude,
that's my theory.
Crazy.
Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Wait a second.
Is there more?
Season 6, Episode 5, Slide Whistle Stooges. Just a
There's
normal
more.
episode where SpongeBob and Patrick annoy Squidward. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Except I have one question about this episode. Why does Squidward have Squilliam's robe? That is clearly not the purple robe he usually wears. That is Squilliam Fancyson III's robe. Why would Squidward have this? Unless they were more than just classmates. Could they have once been dating? No way.
What the fuck?
That's not possible. There's no evidence to support that. Right?
Don't be intimidated, Squidward. Try to imagine him in his underwear.
Oh no, he's hot!
No. It can't be.
I mean, what kind of a moron would go to their worst enemy's music recital?
It's been right in front of us this whole time.
Our sources last saw Evil harassing teenagers up
minute.
at Makeout Reef.
Make-out rave. Good time. Good time.
Voted most likely to suck eggs in high school.
Holy shit!
Dude, Squidward's fucking gay, dude. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's crazy to think of. What the fuck, dude? That took the weirdest turn ever. What the fuck? Oh my god. No way. Dude, those are crazy. How did no one think of that?
And the rolling ain't a stopwatch. Yeah, and my soul, and Peter. They so cold, come out here. Wait a minute, they all wanna hear me talk. Yeah.